Mr. Mark.
CB650F.
Good morning. Guess where we are? We are outside Damerells in Indian Queens, their Honda showroom, and they've given us a couple of bikes to look at today. I've got the CB650F, which is a 2018 bike. It's been uprated. It's now got showy forks on it, on the suspension, and it looks quite smart actually. Quite pleased with it. A little bit concerned because we're going out and the weather is absolutely horrible today. It's sticky, sweaty roads, and around where we are there's a bus that's just driven around and there's diesel all over the road, so it's a little bit worrying, but we'll give it a go anyway. It's quite a sexy looking bike, isn't it? Naked obviously, no fairing, no screen, and as we were wheeling it out, a few people have said they really quite liked it. Like the look of it. I like the exhaust, but we'll give it a go and see what happens, eh? First impressions are it's a nice small bike, quite a small bike, so podgy people look away now. Only a narrow handlebar. I'm obviously used to riding a GS which has huge handlebars. You know, this has no miles on its clock. It's the first time it's been out, so they've asked us to be careful on it, and obviously the tyres are brand spanking new. The twin cylinder, really smooth, sounds very buzzy, or should I say feels very buzzy. Standard switchgear controls, so very typical Honda build, very good quality. You feel as soon as you sit on the bike it feels like a nice bike. And the pickup, it's a 650 engine, so the pickup is quite good on it. It's a 90 brake horsepower. I think it's 88 or 85 Newton meters of whatever it is power, torque, and 17 litre tank, and it does about 60 miles to the gallon, 60 miles to the gallon. That's what it says in the brochure. So it's an ideal little commuting bike for somebody, I would think. The wind in your chest, I'm doing 50 miles an hour now, and the wind in your chest is really quite strong. Obviously there's no screen to deflect anything at all, and it's typical of a naked bike. But you know, that's what you expect. If you're commuting, it's not really that much of an issue anyway, but I wouldn't like to tour on a bike like this personally, although I know people do. You can tour on any bike you can choose to ride, which is good. So the dashboard is a digital dashboard. There's a rev counter that goes up the left hand side of the speedo, and on the right hand side it's showing me a clock, a fuel gauge and an odometer, say how many miles it's done, and this has now done 3 miles. Sounds really nice, and as soon as I switched it on, I had 2 guys came across at the showroom there, were saying how nice it sounded. Obviously it's a bit muted for me with the earplugs in, but it does sound very nice, and it is very nice to ride. The seat is a bit hard for my liking. You feel like you're being pushed up against the tank by the seat. That seems to be the comfiest position that I've found so far on it, which is it's not too bad. I wouldn't like to ride anywhere particularly long on it. First thing you notice about the bike is how short it is. It's I couldn't tell you how long it was, and obviously the paperwork and the handbook would tell you things like that, but I'm sat here now. I'm up against the tank, and I can't see the front wheel at all. Some green laners there. Toby and I are going to be doing that in a few weeks time, we think. Do a review. Okay, nice big wing mirrors. I got a bit of a view with you see my shoulders in them, so they could do with being a little bit further out, but they extend beyond the width of the handlebars as it is, because they're quite narrow. I noticed without even starting that one of the first things I spotted was a stupid little scooter horn on them. Motorcycle manufacturers, why do you continue to put these ridiculous horns on motorbikes? does absolutely nothing. It's got a rocker switch for the main headlights, main beam and the dip beam. Has the Honda HISS key system, which is if you haven't got the right key you can't start the bike. Very basic dashboard, and it's all sort of in a matte black colour. On the right hand side it's very basic again, it's got the kill switch and the start switch. No heated grips on this, which again is a bit of a bone of contention for me. You know, we live in a reasonably cold country. For 14 quid, which is what, you know, a set of Oxford hand grips cost, I think. I might be wrong there, but you know, if I'm wrong then I apologise, but I don't think they're very expensive. You know, for that price, and I know the bike is a budget price bike, you know, surely to God you could put heated grips on it. My hands aren't cold, but you know, there is no protection at all from here on this bike. I noticed when I was coming around the roundabout before that the throttle was a little bit jerky, and that might just be because it's got only 5 miles on its clock now. So, but when you switch it on and wind the throttle open a little bit, there you go, you just pick up, I'm in top at the moment, and it does pick up quite quickly. It is a bit stuttery, probably because it's a new bike. Okay, we're now going down Toby's favourite bit of road, Winners Perch Road, and this is really typical Honda engineering. You know, it's very smooth, very stable, feels very planted on the road when you're riding it. No issues with braking, the braking is good. Obviously because it's a very short bike it turns quickly into corners. Just lost a bit of concentration there, just trying to find out what gear I'm in because there's no gear indicator. So I'm in first gear now, second. So it's a 6-speed box, and I'll be honest that so far I've been riding this, second gear and third gear are a bit too slow. So I'm in fourth gear now, and it seems to be doing everything. So I'm in sixth gear now, 50 miles an hour, 4,000 RPM. I've got to be honest, it's a nice enough bike, but it does seem almost a little bit like it's being thrashed a little bit, even in sixth. The engine winds along, it doesn't seem to be struggling that much. However, in sixth gear at 60 miles an hour there doesn't seem to be that much more. It takes a long time to wind it up. So I'm assuming it's one of these bikes you have to sort of rev quite hard, which is a bit strange because if you put it in second gear it doesn't really want to do very much. It's more of a commuting thing, and it's actually quite jerky. It might be the newness of the bike and the fact that it's not got many miles on it. Quite good engine braking on it, I must admit. In fact, very good engine braking, comparatively speaking, to some bikes we've ridden. Okay, so an overtake there past the tractor, whipped it up through the gears quite quickly. It's very happy to be sat at 60 miles an hour, definitely. Toby just asked me if I'm enjoying the bike, and I don't want to sound negative about it because it's a nice little bike really, it's just a bit underwhelming. But you know, it's aimed at a certain market, I think. Okay, so 60 miles an hour, giving me about 4,500 RPM. The bike still wants to pull, it's still pulling, but you know, I think you'd find it very uncomfortable to be riding at 70 miles an hour for any length of time on it. That's just the style of bike it is.
CB650F. It's great.
Don't hold back.
Do you know what? It's a really nice bike, and the first thing I've got to do is apologise because I thought it was a twin cylinder. When I got on the bike, it had no miles on it at all. It's got 12 on it now. So I just jumped on it and rode off. Thought it must be a twin cylinder, but it's actually a 4-cylinder. Which,
Schoolboy error.
and I'm a schoolboy, is a bit weird, you know, because as a 4-cylinder bike, you would expect quite a lot more from it.
Yeah.
It's a 650, so you know it's in the middle of the power range, the engine range, if you want.
Yeah.
But it's a bit underwhelming, and I feel bad saying that because it shouldn't be.
Is it underwhelming? Because I had the same thing on a. You'll have to check up there somewhere on the card for the other video. For its baby brother, the 125. Underwhelming because we've come from a bike with 125 brake horsepower, but it's a workhorse. But it's quite different to compare the pickup and that sort of speed. But was it?
First gear's first gear. Second and third gear are quite jumpy in this.
Yeah.
So all the ride we've just done, most of it was in 4th, 5th, and 6th, which is I don't go into 6th gear on my bike, my 1200, until I'm on a motorway or something like that, because that's what you wouldn't do. To be up in 6th gear on a bike like this, I wasn't expecting to have to do that, but most of the ride was done in 4th.
Yeah.
And it was smooth enough. It's a smooth bike, but it just, when it got up to 60 miles an hour, you didn't feel like there was much more left in it, and it was panting a bit, you know.
All right.
Now,
Okay.
it's a brand new bike. It's not been running. It's got 12 miles on the clock, and that might be part of the problem. I don't know.
There's Mark on his new bike.
So, it's a really basic bike, but it's really well made because it's Honda, and you would expect nothing better.
Yeah.
Great wing mirrors, although if they're about another centimetre wider, you wouldn't see your elbows in them. So why they wouldn't do that, I don't know. Looking down the side of the bike, look at the colour of the engine. I do like that. It's a nice colour.
I like the fact that they've done the two-tone.
Yep.
It adds something a little bit more special to it, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. One of these little sidey exhaust.
Which is really good, isn't it? Because if you did want some luggage, even the throw-over luggage, you haven't got to worry about it burning on the top of your panniers or on the bottom of your panniers.
I think they're a good idea having the exhaust down there.
Yeah.
You know? Obviously, if you've got an adventure type bike, you're going to get bashed, and that's why they come up here. But you know, why would you have a road bike with your exhaust up here? Doesn't make much sense to me.
No.
Anyway, good solid frame. Got these little pads on it.
Did you find that your knees were on those pads?
Yes, possibly.
Yeah.
And again, you know, why don't manufacturers do this as standard? Put a little cover there to stop the tank getting scratched, because the way the seat is scooped, it pushes you right up against it.
Pushes your codpiece up against the tank.
My codpiece? Yes, sir. Michelin brakes. It's got a single disc on the back and twin vented ones on the front.
And alloy wheels.
Alloy wheels. It's nice.
Look
hugger.
at that.
But the hugger, you'll notice, only covers the middle part of the wheel. So all the rubbish.
Get into it. Oh yeah.
So any rubbish that's coming up here is coming up the back of your leg, perhaps.
Yeah. Hasn't this got some special lighting as well?
Some special lighting.
Yeah.
Well, not if you consider bulbs special lighting.
Bulbs on the back.
Bulbs on the back.
And the
bulbs on front.
indicators.
However, it has got, and I shall show you, LED
I'm going
lights.
to pan down.
Pan down. Almost like
Oh look, they are really bright actually.
I'm going to flash them at you now. Stand by.
Excellent.
Okay, so shower upside down forks, a nice little mudguard, and you know, there's not really a lot else I can say about it.
Smooth bike?
Very smooth. It's a 4-cylinder, although I thought it was a 2 because I'm an idiot. Yeah, it's a basic bike. You don't get a gear, you don't get a readout on the dashboard to see what gear you're in. It's 1 down, 5 up for the gears. I was doing 60 in sixth gear.
Yeah.
At about 4,500 RPM, and it doesn't sound like it's got much more in it really.
Oh, okay.
Which is a bit weird, because I thought it would have quite a lot more power to it. And to be honest, if you're going to ride this all day at 70 miles an hour, I'd have no hair left. I have no hair
There
left.
is no hair. How long have you been on this bike?
Has my wig come off from my helmet? I know, you're expecting Brad Pitt, you got Dirt Diggler.
Dirt Diggler.
So, yeah, it's a nice enough bike. I'd never buy one myself.
And it's about 6,700 quid. So it's, you know, I know that's a lot of money, and people will say, well, that's a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but in the scheme of things, for a bike that you can take and do anything you want to do on it, it's not a great deal of money, but there will be other bikes out there of that price range that perhaps might excite you a little bit more.
If this is up against the MT range,
Yeah.
I think possibly the MT might have it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a well-made bike. It's a short bike. It turns really well. It's just a bit underwhelming for me, unfortunately. Sorry about that.
Well, he is smiling.
But I've been out for a ride on a bike, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. I'm sure you'll have comments about it to say how bad we are at making reviews of motorbikes. I thought it was a 2-cylinder, it's a 4-cylinder. What's 2 cylinders between friends?
Well, 2 cylinders.
Subscribe to us, because we always need that. Toby's going to put all the torques and Newton meters and all that sort of stuff down the screen, and we'll see you soon.